And we're bringing you continuing coverage of the tax forum being held today at Parliament House in Canberra. Several state treasurers say they'd like to remove inefficient taxes, but they can't afford to. The Federal Treasurer, Wayne Swan, has urged the state governments to examine their own tax systems, particularly charges such as stamp duty. The New South Wales Treasurer, Mike Baird, joins me now from the Great Hall of Parliament House. Mike Baird, can you explain to me briefly what this key idea is that you're presented to the Tax Summit today?
Well, Kim, what we have proposed is very simple. How do we deal with the tax problem that states in the country is facing? And at the moment what we have is states with a huge inefficient tax base and a massively increased spending requirement, and that gap needs to be managed. And the only way to do that, we are arguing, is to share on some of the most efficient taxes in the country, which are held by the Commonwealth. Income tax is our proposal. If we got a portion of income tax that was quarantined, that could go back to the states, that would help deliver some of the critical infrastructure and service requirements we have, we think that is the way forward in solving what is a very vexed problem for the country.
Well, it hasn't taken very long for the Federal Treasurer, Wayne Swan, to say no deal on this one. He just says that, that states need to look at their own revenue bases, and asking the federal government for assistance is simply not going to work.
Well, I think what I'm taking heart from this afternoon is in the forum, Wayne Swan did suggest that he was very happy to work with the states on this problem going forward, and I take that as a positive sign. The only way we are going to address it is by dealing with the Commonwealth's most efficient taxes. That's the only way we can start getting rid of some of the most inefficient taxes, and at top of the list in terms of states is stamp duty, the most inefficient tax in terms of economic modelling across the country.
Not only inefficient, but pretty unpopular too.
Well, I mean, obviously stamp duty is unpopular, and from a revenue point of view, it's still a significant portion of state taxation across the state. So to start to address some of that reform, and there are economic benefits from doing that, we are arguing, and I guess we take hope today from the Federal Treasurer saying he's willing to work with states going forward. And I did ask in the forum this afternoon whether we put it on the top of the agenda for the next council meeting with the treasurers, and he certainly seemed to accede to that. So it's something that has started today. It obviously hasn't ended in any way, shape or form, but I guess it's a start.
So if New South Wales was to abolish stamp duty, for example, on housing purchases, in return you'd be looking, for example, of getting all of the fuel excise that the federal government collects in the state of New South Wales. I mean, what proportion does New South Wales as a state actually get of the fuel excise at the moment, and how much would you like?
Well, at the moment we get just over $1 billion, and the federal government raises about $13 billion annually on the excise tax. And again, another of the ideas would be suggesting it really is nothing more than a user pays on our roads. Overall, states are getting back about $4 billion, and if you just did it on a per capita base, New South Wales will get about $4.3 billion back compared to just over the $1 billion we get. So there's almost $3 billion a year that could go into actually building the roads that we desperately need. Now, that is just part of the overall reform process, and if Wayne Swan is serious about wanting to come back and negotiate on these particular issues, whether it be excise tax or whether it be income tax, we are very happy to negotiate on how we might get rid of some of the inefficient taxes and also put some onus on states. Yes, we have to do something with our taxes as well, but it's quite a breakthrough if the Federal Treasurer is starting to talk about considering those options at least. And he gave nothing more than that, but certainly didn't rule anything out. And I think that is good news for the state, and it's good news for the nation.
And are the states, be they Labor or be they Conservative, are united on this particular point?
Well, there was an overall consensus around the room that it is an urgent problem. Someone put it down as a burning platform for the nation, and I think it is. It is no doubt that going forward, states are faced